Oh, snap. I snapped too early. I was premature snapping. What's up, y'all? Welcome in. My name's Patrick. You like true crime? Sweet. I'm live every night. YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Cool. TikTok's hitting goals over here already. YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button too. Do me a favor. Spread the word about the live stream. I appreciate it. All you got to do is hit that little thumbs up button. YouTube. Okay. We got things to talk about tonight. TikTok, hit the follow button, tap the screen like crazy, and hit me with those bears. Y'all, Scott Peterson. Whoa. Getting crazy as hell, y'all. Getting crazy as hell. We're going to talk about that. Then we got some Matthew Perry stuff. Christina Randall, actually. We haven't listened to Christina in a minute. So we're going to take a listen to some Christina Randall. Then I'm going to tail end a little bit of Gypsy. Just a like a little drop in the bucket. All right. I know. I see the comments, y'all. Y'all keep saying Gypsy Rose. Oh God. So I hear you. Trust me, I do. So let's go. Let's do this. You guys ready? Let's do this. Let's power through this together. Shall we? All right, I'm going to shrink myself down. Scott Peterson. Is he innocent? That's what some people think. Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know right now. What do you think? This is crazy. But here we go.
The Los Angeles Innocence Project has come on board to help find all the things that were ignored by the Modesto Police Department.
We heard that there had been a burglary next door.
The burglars may have abducted Lacey.
There's
Oh, hell.
on a mattress in a van. Why didn't this get brought up?
This was exonerating evidence.
Convicted wife killer Scott Peterson is speaking out for the first time since his murder trial. What you saw there
Oh, hell.
was the Peacock documentary, Face to Face with
A Peacock documentary.
Scott Peterson, and it drops today.
Why should anyone want to hear
Oh, damn, it
your
was out
side of
today?
the story?
Because I didn't kill my family.
Netflix has also released a documentary earlier this month, called American Murder, Lacey Peterson, and it includes some interesting tidbits.
Oh, hell.
A detective revealed that the Peterson wanted food from In-N-Out Burger right after his arrest. John Bueller, a detective, said that they had picked him up down in San Diego area. They
You want an In-N-Out burger? What the hell?
were driving back to Modesto in the car for a while. They stopped at the old In-N-Out. And unlike what Bueller would think a normal person in this position who'd just been arrested wouldn't be very hungry, he piped up and said, "I'll take a double-double with fries and a small vanilla shake."
Oh, hell, I want a double-double.
And that, according to the detectives, was another one
Well, why would, right after you get arrested? That's crazy as hell.
of those red flags that started from the very beginning in this case against Scott Peterson.
A case that we are fortunate to have Ted Rowlands here to talk about so much of it, because Ted, you almost
Oh, Lord. Jerry, if it's skipping, just try refreshing the page.
can't talk about the Scott Peterson case without talking about your reporting, your interviewing of
Anthony.
Scott Peterson. Of course, that's my favorite part of these documentaries that have all dropped. The Peacock, Hulu expected, and Netflix as theirs. You're talking about what happened as it was happening there at his house. This case that just captivated everyone's attention.
Yeah, I was there
Oh, Lord.
the day after she was reported missing and, working up in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time. And this was a case that didn't think it'd be a big deal as a missing woman, probably find her in a day or two. And it was sort of outside of our coverage area. But little did I know, 20 years later, we'd be still talking about Scott Peterson as he tries to get a new trial. It's a huge long shot. And these documentaries
Oh, man.
are interesting because it's a fresh look at
Thanks for the bears, y'all.
the case from two different executive producers. I know them both and have known them for years, and they do come at it from different perspectives.
So what do we need to be paying attention to if you're watching one versus the other?
The Netflix one is a story of the crime, but also a real love story and a story of Lacey and her family and the pain that they've gone through. And when you watch it, it's very apparent why the jury found him guilty. It's very apparent why 90% of the country thinks he's guilty, because his behavior was just off the charts strange, and that's what detectives honed in on right away. The Peacock one is more about the case, what's there, what isn't, the physical evidence, the hard evidence, the missing evidence, and that one might make you think a little bit, maybe not.
It's a case that got picked up by the LA Innocence Project. That's why we're now seeing it in the headlines now with this push for a new trial. And we're getting closer to a possibility, some decisions, right?
If they, y'all, why would the Los Angeles Innocence Project pick up a case like that? Do they really think that they have evidence, or do they do it for like publicity, like notoriety? What the heck would they do? Why would they do it? They must, I mean, somebody has to think he might be innocent, right? I don't know. I don't know those people. I don't know these people, but y'all let me know. What do you think? And y'all, we got 7 bears left. Thank you for that. Let's do that so we get some more people in here.
Yeah, there's a piece of duct tape that was on Lacey Peterson's pants, and it is now at the lab. Both sides have representation there. It's a neutral site just outside of Los Angeles. Hey, if that comes back with something concrete, it could be a ticket for Peterson to get a new trial. Again, massive long shot.
Let's bring in someone else who can talk about this with us. Criminal defense attorney and former district attorney Matthew Mangino still standing by. From the prosecution side, Matthew, your thoughts on the possibility that we will see another Scott Peterson trial, no doubt, here on Court TV?
Well, I think it's important to kind of understand how this matter can even be back in front of the court again, because normally in a case where there's a conviction, you have direct appeal rights that you go straight to the appellate court, and then you have certain post-conviction rights that you can also use to get a new trial. It might be ineffective assistance of counsel and other evidence. In order for this case to get back in front of the court, you need some newly discovered evidence, and maybe this duct tape is that, or other situations that let the court actually take a third or fourth look at a case. And you also have federal appeal rights, habeas corpus, when you can ask the federal court to review what the state courts did. So, I'm sure that the prosecution is confident in this case. They're confident in what they presented to the jury. They're confident that appellate courts have upheld this conviction multiple times. But, the defendant, if there is in fact after discovered evidence, has the right to bring that evidence back in front of the court, and the court could determine whether that evidence was prejudicial or the lack of it in his trial was prejudicial, and grant him a new trial.
His family has...
That is crazy as hell.
...stayed behind him. His sister-in-law, Janie, went to law school and has made it her life's work on some level to try to free him and help and support. He, 20 years later, does have some support. Take a listen.
I believe my brother-in-law, Scott, has been wrongfully convicted of that. He's been in prison since April of 2003. Scott has not spoken on camera about the case in those 21 years. And
Matthew, the criminals that are convicted oftentimes go to their grave saying, I didn't do it. And the net effect is it brings despair and a feeling from their families that they believe that their loved one has been incarcerated wrongly. And it's really a form of torture, isn't it?
Oh my word.
Not when someone is holding on to this, I didn't do it. And Peterson is saying he didn't do it. If in fact he did, it's unconscionable what he's put his family through.
Well, yeah, Ted, you're right. I mean, I wrote a book, The Executioner's Toll, 2010, about the death penalty, and the number of people who have gone to their on a execution gurney, still suggesting that they're not guilty, I'm sure is so difficult for the family, because they don't know, and they're fighting for their son in this case, and it's been almost obsessive over 20 years to continue this fight because he says he's not responsible. And
damn,
they've invested so much in this, and I'm sure it's painful for his family. But how about Lacey's family? How painful this is, that this case has gone on now for 20 years. And here's a guy that just won't get out of the news, who's still in our face saying, I didn't do this. Somebody find a way to prove that. And so it's a tragedy for both families, and Lacey's family especially, for having this case go on and on and on and on.
It's so true, Matthew. And you mentioned in your face. That's what we keep seeing. And the Peacock documentary, it's called Face to Face with Scott Peterson. Those interviews are so critical because I think people just want to understand who this person is, how he was able to get in front of TV cameras and claim innocence for all of that time. Let's take a look back to some more of this documentary because, of course, they wanted to talk to someone who had spoken with Scott Peterson himself.
This was a beautiful...
Yes, Montreal, I know. Do you think Scott Peterson is guilty? You tell everybody. What do you think? Oh, you don't even want to look? What do you think? Is he guilty? Hello?
Pregnant, missing woman. On the surface, he did it. But how?
All right, just a bit of that there is all that we can show, Matthew. But hearing from Scott Peterson, it's important to those who may not understand this case. There's an entire generation that did not live through the Scott Peterson trial in 2002 and 2003. Talk about that part of it, Scott Peterson himself, and how people...
can you imagine that? Like the younger generation that didn't see and hear and know about all this, just like learning about it on social media, and they have these documentaries coming out, and like this younger crowd's like, oh my God, he is innocent. Whoa. YouTube, let's get 100 likes, by the way. Hit that thumbs up button. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. Let's get 25,000 likes. And come over to YouTube if you want to watch the video. On TikTok, you can only hear it, but on YouTube, you can see it. Just search The Mystery Project. Type it in the chat, y'all. The Mystery Project. That's what it's called on YouTube. Come subscribe. We're live right now. Let's go.
People of a different generation may even view him differently than people did at that time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, if you're the defense in this case, you're trying now to create a narrative for people who maybe didn't know much about this case, didn't follow it closely.
Making a narrative about, making up a narrative for people who didn't see the details of this case.
Never heard of it. Young people who you know, maybe listening now. So you're creating this narrative. You're almost creating.
People nowadays will believe a lot of crazy stuff.
You what?
Holy hell! Crazy stuff.
A defense for the court of public opinion. And that's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to generate interest. They're trying to get people engaged. They're trying to get people to talk about this case again because, hey, it was 20 years ago. And, you know, maybe that in some way has some influence, you know, public perception. Again, the Innocence Project working on this seems to have generated some issue. Hey, you know, if they're getting involved, you know, there must be something to this. So I think those are all important issues with regard to public relations, but we're still talking about a court case and the very specific requirements to have the court review your case again.
Right. Whit, don't worry, I got you.
Indeed. And we should always point out it's the LA Innocence Project, not the National Barry Scheck Innocence Project. Much different. The track records are much different. LA Innocence Project, relatively new. But to your point, Matthew, they did look at the case and they said, we're going to represent him from here on out, thinking that he is, as their title says, innocent. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh my goodness.
Talk about Matthew Perry, and I kind of want to start at the beginning, and then we're going to go through what we know so far.
Oh, Lord. Matthew Perry, y'all. Christina Randall. Shout out to Christina Randall. Make sure you go subscribe to her. She's pinned down in the description. Go show her some love, y'all. A little Matthew Perry action.
Disclaimer, everything in this video is alleged. I have pulled all of my information from very public sources that is already out there. Please go do your own research and form your own opinion. So, okay, Matthew Perry was born on August 19th in 1969 in Williamstown, Massachusetts, to his parents, Susan and John. Matthew's mother, Suzanne, is a Canadian journalist who was once the press secretary to the Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. Matthew's father, John,
Oh, God.
is an American actor and a former model. Now,
Kimberly, thank you. That's the Montreal airport's named after that dude.
Now, Matthew's parents separated when he was just 1 year old, and his mother would go on to marry a Canadian broadcaster journalist named Keith. Matthew was mostly raised by his mother in Ottawa, Canada, but he also briefly lived in Toronto and Montreal. Growing up, Matthew...
Christina Randall. Y'all, it's been a minute since we listened to Christina Randall. She is so funny. She is so funny. She doesn't even mean to be. She just is. It's so amazing. I want to hear her say Montreal again.
Ottawa, Canada, but he also briefly lived in Toronto and Montreal. Growing up, Matthew went to a boarding school with his half-sister from his father's side, Maria. And I'll be honest, I've always wondered about those boarding schools because they're still around to this day. So if you have any opinions or experience, let me know down in the comments section. At around 10 years old, Matthew began to struggle. He said that he felt like an outsider when his mother started building a family with her new husband. So while Matthew was struggling, he was doing little things like taking money from his mother, he was smoking, he was letting his grades fall, pretty much rebelling. I mean,
oh, hell. His mom should have hit him with the, I'll be there for you.
he even got into a fight with a classmate. Now get this, and this is just so weird, so full circle and kind of suspicious, but this classmate that he got into
oh, hell.
this altercation with just so happened to be Justin Trudeau, the future at the time Canadian Prime Minister. Matthew
Perry beat up Justin Trudeau. Matthew Perry, wherever you are, my friend, I love you. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. Oh, that's funny. Is that real? That can't be real life. Is that real life? That's hilarious.
Has said that he started drinking when he was just 14, and by the time that he was 18, he was drinking every single day. Matthew was, however, thriving at playing tennis. He said that he was playing for at least...
Valerie said the hero we deserve. That's hilarious.
At least 10 hours a day, and he became a top-ranked junior player in Canada, and he had the possibility of a professional tennis career. But this dream faded when he moved from Canada to Los Angeles to live with his father when he was just 15 years old. The competition there in LA was much tougher than it was back home. So
he played tennis in Canada? That seems crazy as hell. Hockey, yeah, but tennis? Tennis in Canada? Do they play tennis in Canada? I mean, I know they do, but like, I wouldn't think it'd be that big. You could play like what, a month out of the year? Other than that, you're just hitting ice balls at people. That's so stupid. I'm being facetious, y'all. There's probably some hella good Canadian tennis players out there.
So this is when Matthew kind of switched lanes, and he went from his dream at playing tennis to deciding that he was going to start studying acting.
They use tints, Kristen? No way. Hold on. Canadian winter tennis images. They fucking do. They do. It's a huge inflatable bubble tint. Insane. You a real one. That's crazy as hell. That's awesome. All right, let's keep going. Sorry, y'all. Tangent. I know. Sorry, y'all. Had coffee. That's coffee. Iced coffee. So I'm on squirrel mode. Squirrel!
at the Buckley School, which is a college prep school in LA. Now, while he was studying, Matthew took improv comedy classes. He would go on to graduate from there in 1987. Matthew had appeared in some small parts before his graduation.
I was just the
Though his first credited
we got 3 more. Kimberly, thank you.
Role was a small part in 240 Robert back in 1979. But as soon as Matthew moved to LA, he started auditioning for bigger roles. He wanted to make it big. He wanted to be a star. And throughout the 80s, Matthew made guest appearances in quite a few shows, most notably Growing Pains. He did this part in Growing Pains in 1989, and some of y'all are going,
that is him. Oh, that's crazy as hell. Canada does some weird stuff with they do curling. That's weird. Desiree, thank you. 2 left.
Ding, 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 ding. I remember that show, and some of y'all are going, I have no idea what show that is. Depending on your
I remember that show.
Thought process tells me probably your age range.
Hey.
Because Growing Pains was so big back then. He also made his film debut just before that in a movie called A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. Then in 1990, Matthew was cast as a regular on the 1990 CBS sitcom Sydney. He played the younger brother in this show, but it wasn't until 1993 when Matthew was just 24 years old. He was taking these little roles and he had no idea that he was about to make it big.
Oh, damn.
That his dreams of being the star was actually going to come true. Matthew was actually committed to a sitcom called Lax 2194.
That's a crazy picture. Oh my God. That's a crazy looking picture.
That initially made him unavailable for a role.
TikTok, please come over to YouTube and look at this picture. Just search the Mystery Project.
In another pilot, 6 of 1. Now, 6 of 1 would later be known as the infamous show Friends. But then the Lax 2194 show fell through. So Matthew was finally able to audition for this part in 6 of 1. And he was eventually cast as Chandler Bing. He was the youngest member of the main cast. And as you probably know, the show Friends became a huge success. By 2002, each of the main cast members were making $1 million per episode. I need for everybody to stop and hear that again. In 2002, the cast members were making $1 million per episode. Holy cow. The show earned Matthew an Emmy nomination in 2002 as well. And of course, with the international fame that Matthew was gaining, it came with a microscope that was always on him. Fans began to worry about Matthew when they noticed that he looked different in later seasons of Friends. Matthew would go on to address why that was. Now, according to Matthew, like I said earlier, he had become an alcoholic by the age of 18. And so then in 1997, after a jet ski accident, Matthew said that he became addicted to a pill called Vicodin. He actually ended up going to rehab and he completed a 28-day program. But then in May of 2000, Matthew was admitted to the hospital with an alcohol-induced pancreatitis. Then in 2002, Matthew said that he initially really tried not to drink on the set of Friends, but that he would arrive in the morning with extreme hangovers, and that made him shake and sweat while he was literally filming. He said that during later seasons of the series, he was frequently either high or had been drinking on the set. And apparently, his castmates even tried to help him by staging an intervention. It was unsuccessful. He looked physically different, and everybody could tell. In 2001, Matthew even paused his work so he could go enter an inpatient rehab facility for 2 months. And he said at this point, he was really struggling with the Vicodin and methadone and and even alcohol. He even would later say that those struggles made it
that poor guy
to the point that he had like no memory of the first 3 years working on the set of Friends, which is kind of scary to think.
It's sad
About like that whole first 3 seasons he didn't even have any memory of. Now, as the years would go on, he continued to struggle, but he also continued to have a successful career, which had to be hard. So he's struggling with this, he's going through all of this, but his career is continuing to climb at the same time. He was nominated for many awards and he even won some of them. Then in 2018, Matthew would go into the hospital and spend 5 months there for a stomach perforation. During his stay, Matthew literally almost lost his life.
Oh God, yeah, that's terrible.
After his colon burst from opioid abuse.
Gee.
He spent 2 weeks in a coma and he had to use a colostomy bag because of it. And I know that I'm not saying that word completely correctly. I try, you guys. He ended up...
Christina, we know you do. And we love every bit of it. Y'all make sure you show Christina Randall some love. She is amazing.
Having to have this bag for 9 months. His family was told that he only had a 2% chance of surviving. And then 2 years later, while Matthew was in a rehab in Switzerland, he says that he faked pain just so he could get a prescription for 1,800 milligrams of pain medication per day. And on top of all of that, he was having ketamine infusions. Now, if you don't know what ketamine is a general
something
anesthetic whose medical risks require a healthcare professional to literally monitor the patient after they have received the medication to make sure that there are no complications. I mean, it is a very, very serious medication. He was also given propofol during...
Oh, Lord have mercy.
During a surgery, which actually stopped his hearts for 5 minutes. Now, propofol is...
That's pretty... I mean, propofol, yeah, that happens.
Same medication.
That's why they got RTs in the room.
That contributed...
Oop, they stopped breathing.
...to Michael Jackson.
Oop, I gotta restart your heart.
Jackson's passing. CPR was given that broke 8 of Matthew's ribs, and Matthew then said that he spent $175,000 for a private jet to take him to LA.
Oh my God. That's crazy as hell. What is that? Oh my God. You got a crazy ass name, lady. Kila Hala Wala Wila Wai? Man, you sound crazy as hell. Stop talking. No, I'm good. You just move on with your life. Yo, we got trolls in the TikTok chat. How do you say that name? Kelly Wally? Kelly Wally. Why? Yeah, bye. This isn't the airport. You don't have to announce your departure. See you later. Adios. No one cares about you. All right, let's continue, shall we?
To get more medication. I mean, can you imagine? This is no way for any person to live. But then, when the doctors refused to give him this medication, he spent another $175,000 to fly back to Switzerland to hopefully continue what he was doing there. In 2022, Matthew said that he estimated that he had spent $9 million on his addiction, which included 14 stomach surgeries, 15 stays in rehab, therapy twice a week for 30 years, and time spent in 6,000 AA meetings. I mean,
that is wow.
The investment that Matthew had put in with time and money, and I cannot even imagine the mental stress and games and thoughts of, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I make this flight? Who can get me this? Over the years is just crazy. It sounds like a living nightmare, truly living in a rich nightmare. That brings us to October 28th of last year, 2023, when 54-year-old Matthew Perry was found unresponsive in a hot tub at his home in LA. He was pronounced deceased at 4:17 p.m. that day. On November 3rd, Matthew's funeral was held where his father, his mother, his stepfather, and his 5 friends, co-stars, attended. On December 15th, it was announced that Matthew's passing was due to acute effects of ketamine. It was said other circumstances that contributed to his passing were things like the effects of opioids, as well as drowning and coronary artery disease. The medical examiner said in a statement that at high levels of ketamine found in his blood, the main lethal effects would be from both cardiovascular overstimulation and respiratory depression, while drowning contributes due to the likelihood of submersion into the pool as he lapsed into unconsciousness. Coronary artery disease contributes due to the exacerbation of ketamine-induced effects on the heart. Now, Matthew had been getting K-assisted psychotherapy sessions to treat anxiety at the time of his passing. His last known session was a week prior to him being found. However, the report stated that the K in his system at his passing could not be from that infusion therapy, meaning, like we talked talked about earlier,
it was the other kind.
These types of medications or therapies are supposed to be monitored. Now, I'm not going to get into the right or wrong because that is actually like a doctor monitoring this type of treatment. But what they found was the amount that was in his system wasn't from that treatment. And since this K's like half-life is 3 to 4 hours or less, there's no way what was in his system could have been from where he was being monitored professionally by a doctor. Now, recently, in May of this year of 2024, an investigation was opened by the LA Police Department to determine just how Matthew got this extremely high dose of K that caused his passing. On August 15th, law enforcement announced that indictments and charges were filed against 5 people. Now,
get them.
Matthew's personal assistant was one of them, 2 other doctors, and 2 dealers.
Mr. Perry's death in October of last year, law enforcement, my office, and our partners represented on this stage began an in-depth, wide-ranging investigation. That investigation has revealed a broad, underground criminal network responsible for distributing large quantities of ketamine to Mr. Perry and others. This network included a live-in assistant, various go-betweens, 2 medical doctors, and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen.
Dear Lord.
We charged 5 defendants in this matter. These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew what they were doing was risking
all for that money, y'all. That's crazy.
Risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyways. In the end, these defendants were more interested in profiting off Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being. I'm going to talk about the indictment, the allegations, and the charges in more detail. On October 28, 2023, Mr. Perry was found deceased in his home. An autopsy was conducted following his death. That autopsy showed that he had died due to the acute effects of ketamine. This investigation focused on who supplied the ketamine to Mr. Perry. As many of you know, Mr. Perry struggled with addiction in the past. And on many occasions, he sought help for his addiction issues. The investigation revealed that in the fall of 2023, Mr. Perry fell back into addiction, and these defendants took advantage to profit for themselves. The 2 lead defendants in this case are defendants Salvador Plasencia and defendant Jesvin Sanya. First, I'll talk about defendant Plasencia. Defendant
That was the doctor.
Placentia was a medical doctor. He worked with another medical doctor, defendant Mark Chavez, to obtain ketamine.
Damn.
He then worked with Mr. Perry's live-in assistant, defendant Kenneth Iwamasa.
That dude?
To distribute that ketamine to Mr. Perry. Over 2 months, from September to October 2023, they distributed approximately 20 vials of ketamine to Mr. Perry in exchange for $55,000 in cash.
Wow.
Defendant Placentia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
You gonna burn in hell for that one.
He also stated in text messages that he wanted to be Mr. Perry's sole source of supply. As a doctor, defendant Placentia knew full well the danger of what he was doing.
Yeah.
In fact, on one occasion, he injected Mr. Perry with ketamine, and he saw Mr. Perry freeze up and his blood pressure spike. Despite that, he left additional vials of ketamine for defendant Iwamasa to administer to Mr. Perry.
The live-in assistant, dude? Oh, hell no. I wonder how much medical training that guy has. Can I have none for 500, Alex? Jeez. Alec? What is it, Alex?
Of course, defendant Iwamasa had no medical training to speak of. Defendant Placentia,
yeah, imagine that,
knew what he was doing was harming Mr. Perry. He had spoken to another patient in mid-October 2023, and he told that patient that Mr. Perry was spiraling out of control with his addiction.
Unreal.
Nonetheless, defendant Placentia continued to offer ketamine to Mr. Perry.
Wow.
Likewise, defendant Sonia knew what she was doing.
Who the heck is that?
Was harming defendants and also Mr. Perry. She took advantage of Mr. Perry by selling large...
Oh, is that the one that they said was the K Queen?
Amounts of ketamine
to
Mr. Perry.
Sorry, y'all. If the algorithm hears that word more than like once or twice or 3 times, they get all uppity. Damn TikTok overlords and YouTube overlords. Y'all are crazy as hell. We're grown adults. We should be able to talk about what we want and say what we want. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Over a 2-week period in October of 20.
Especially. Never mind. It's a true crime channel.
23. She sold approximately 50 vials of ketamine for approximately $11,000 in cash.
Man, you can burn to hell for that. Hope it was worth it. $11,000. Wow.
She worked with a broker, defendant Eric Fleming, and also the live-in assistant, defendant Iwamasa, to distribute this ketamine.
Jeez Louise.
Sonia and the broker, defendant Fleming, saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. In a text message, the broker wrote, quote, "I wouldn't do it if there wasn't a chance of me making some money for doing this." Defendant Sonia sold the batch of ketamine that resulted in Mr. Perry's death on October 28th.
You can burn in hell for that.
Officers later searched defendant Sonia's home. During that search, they found what amounted to a drug-selling emporium. They found 80 vials of ketamine, thousands of pills containing coke, bottles, and other obtained prescription drugs, and drug-selling
censorship there.
Paraphernalia, including scales and ledgers. As I mentioned, the defendants in this case knew what they were doing was wrong. When they'd refer to the ketamine, they used coded language. They'd refer to it using terms such as, quote, Dr. Pepper, or quote, bots, or quote, cans. Also, defendants Placentia and Chavez, as medical doctors, knew full well this was not the proper way to administer ketamine, and they even talked about that in their exchanges. Sonia had sold ketamine to another customer. That person died the same day.
Oh, hell.
And a family member of that person sent a message to defendant Sonia telling her the cause of death was ketamine. Nonetheless, defendant Sonia continued selling drugs, including ketamine,
wow,
including the ketamine that ultimately killed Mr. Perry.
Unreal.
That other victim was a person named Cody McGlory.
Oh, Lord. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm live every single night. We talk about all kinds of different cases. Hit the follow button real quick. Keep tapping the screen like crazy. Thank you for the little hand heart thingies, y'all. The things down there. I appreciate it. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. We got 200 people watching and not even 100 likes.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Y'all, hit the thumbs up button. It just helps spread the word about the live stream. Come on, y'all. Let's get at least 200 likes. Come on, y'all. All right, let's keep going.
He died in 2019.
Ooh, thanks for following.
As a result of this investigation, we have filed a drug distribution charge related to the death
of Mr.
McGlory. After Mr. Perry died, these defendants tried to cover up what they had done.
Thank you.
On October 28th, after reading news reports of Mr. Perry's death,
oh, Lord,
defendant Sonia wrote a text message to defendant Fleming saying, quote, delete all our messages.
That ain't gonna work.
Likewise, after Mr. Perry's death, defendant Placentia falsified medical records and notes to try to make it look like what he was doing was legitimate.
Wow.
It was not. We have filed numerous federal charges against the 5 defendants. The penalties these defendants face are very significant. With regard to defendant Placentia, the statutory maximum sentence he faces is 120 years in federal prison.
Wow. Adios, Placenta, or whatever your name is.
And with regard to defendant Sonia, the statutory maximum she faces is life imprisonment.
So
goodbye.
Now Kenneth has got a plea agreement, which is why he went ahead and pled guilty, the assistant. And so, of course, the assistant is telling everything. And so now all this information is coming out, and he's probably going to have to testify against anybody else that tries to take it to trial. It says that Kenneth has been injecting Matthew with this K in the days leading up to his passing at least 6 to 8 times per day.
Oh, God.
And that he found Matthew unconscious at his house on at least 2 different occasions in just the month of October alone. Now, the plea agreement goes on to say that on the day of Matthew's passing, Kenneth allegedly...
Oh, wow, yeah. Y'all, he looks rough right there. Damn. I never saw that picture, y'all. He looks rough right there. Poor guy.
Injected Matthew with a shot of K at 8:30 a.m. and then again at 12:45 p.m. while Matthew was watching a movie. Then, about 40 minutes after, Matthew asked Kenneth to get the hot tub going and to shoot me up with a big one. Kenneth allegedly injected Matthew with more K in or near while he was around the hot tub, and this makes 3 injections in a 5-hour period.
Oh, hell.
The plea agreement then says that Kenneth left the home to run errands, which left Matthew unattended in the hot tub. And when Kenneth came back to the house, this is when he found Matthew face down in the hot tub. Matthew's last photo that he posted on his Instagram was taken literally just before he passed away in the hot tub. After Matthew's passing, the National Philanthropy Trust established the Matthew Perry Foundation to support people struggling with addictions. So what do I think? I think this is something that people struggle with every single day. A lot of people don't have the resources that Matthew and other people in that position have, and sometimes it can be to your detriment, like in this situation. I think that the justice system is right to arrest all of the people involved and hold them accountable. And I'm glad that they're making an example out of them, because doctors should be afraid of doing this type of thing. I cannot believe that his assistant, I understand, you know, assistants doing everything they can for the person that they work for, but holy cow, that is to the extreme.
To the extreme? No, that's illegal. That's something that should never have happened.
When you talk about ride or die, it sounds like that's exactly what Kenneth was, and to his detriment and to Matthew's detriment. But I have a feeling that Matthew was going to find somebody to do what he wanted anyways. If he would, you know, fly for $175,000 from Switzerland to LA just to try to get some stuff, he was going to do what he was going to do regardless. When I was growing up, kids or people thinking about being famous like that or being on these shows was just like the stars in your eyes. But so many people get lost in that lifestyle, and no amount of money can bring them back out. And it's really sad.
Oh, Lord. Damn. YouTube, thumbs up button. TikTok, hit the follow button. I see a whole bunch of new people in here. Welcome in, y'all. My name's Patrick. You like true crime? Awesome. Hit the follow button. I'm live every night. Every single night. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Who are we talking about now?
Hey you guys, it's Brit tonight. We're here to talk about Gypsy Rose. She posted a new video that I thought was basically just proving my point.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. By the way, Radiant Brit, she's awesome. Make sure you follow her, subscribe to her. Her link is down in the description. Give her a subscribe, y'all. She does incredible stuff. Let's keep going.
Yet again. So
okay, don't worry. I am too.
We're going to go over it. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys. So of course, we're going to react to the video together just to have a few laughs. And, you know,
oh, Lord, here we go.
You know,
at least it's funny, y'all.
Her video is about her trying the pumpkin spice latte. And of course, she had to put a disclaimer because she knows that when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to be taking in large amounts of caffeine, which, you know, a lot of people, if they do go to Starbucks, they'll do a tall drink or maybe get a decaf. You can get almost everything at Starbucks in a decaf version, but her video says, tasting my first Starbucks pumpkin spice latte. Disclaimer in all capital letters. Women who are pregnant are allowed to consume a maximum of 200 milligrams of caffeine per day. Caffeine is considered safe in moderation. She hashtags herself and hashtags Ken because, as we know, they are on the quick train to become family vloggers and exploit their child that is incoming. That's very, very clear to see. So first I wanted to see how much caffeine is in a grande pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. And it says
about 160.
That it's approximately 150 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah. 150 to 160.
Caffeine. I just like to fact check these things just because Gypsy Rose is a known liar. Her and Ken each got one. She got the iced, he got the hot, and it was quite a fiasco. So let's play the video before I make everyone fall asleep, and then we'll get in with final thoughts.
Good morning, y'all. So today I am going to get my first pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks.
Oh, God.
Hi, good morning. Can I get two grande pumpkin spice lattes, please?
You say two grande pumpkin spice lattes? Are they both hot?
Grande pumpkin spice latte.
I want mine iced.
Both. Actually, one hot, one iced.
Gotcha. Anything else for you today?
Yeah. All right. Got it. Boom.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I got the pumpkin spice latte iced. Oh, that is good. All right, I'll try the hot one. Like the iced one.
This is crazy as hell. Who sent me this one?
Your stick. All right, I don't want to burn my mouth.
Well, okay, you can wait if you want.
I like the ice one better.
I usually avoid being this petty, but when you come
oh, damn it, Brett. That's funny. I usually avoid being this petty. But
combine her constantly licking her lips with that quick little thing that she does, combined with that Muppets-like laugh, it really bothers me. And it's a personal problem. I'm gonna have to get over it if I'm reacting to her content. I know, like, get over it. It's not that big of a deal. But I know a lot of y'all feel the same way. And initially I was like, well, you know, maybe people are just being too hard on her. But I see exactly why it sends some of y'all over the edge. It's both of those combined, and when it's done back to back, ooh.
Now maybe if it
gosh, hit us with the
was like cold day, like a cold day, the warm would be better.
Right.
But it is southern Louisiana, so I do like the
It's
ice.
only 82 degrees out at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a big deal.
Only 82.
This is get home without GPS.
Oh, yeah.
2 hours later.
2 hours later. You ever seen those videos?
Yeah, you know what it's
Oh,
from?
God.
No.
It's from SpongeBob.
Oh, I've never seen
It's like
SpongeBob.
the French acting 2 hours later.
Yeah, that's the voice.
Yeah.
I've never seen SpongeBob.
Blasphemy.
It was mostly Disney.
Girl, be so for real. You haven't seen SpongeBob? SpongeBob was popular when
Way
I was
before.
much older, but sound off down below. Am I crazy for thinking that most of us have at least been aware of what SpongeBob is? And when you watch those videos on social media, you know that it's from SpongeBob. It's the same font and the same graphics. I don't know, whatever. That's here nor there.
And like, what's that one that like the Powerpuff Girls is playing on?
Yeah, it's Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. It's not Cartoon Network.
Sugar, spice, and everything. You never seen that for real?
No.
You were robbed of a childhood.
No shit.
Jesus. I was about to say, that's crazy as hell. And then that's crazy as hell.
Just now realizing that.
Oh, hell. That's, I don't know how I feel about that.
Alright, y'all. Thank you for joining us on our
Anyway, so that's what she's calling content. I guess
she cut that off hella quick.
that's what she's going to label as her awareness. Oh, I unalived my mother. I had to go to prison because I unalived her and I used an autistic man to carry out the crime for me. I got much less time. I came out. Now I'm a popular, infamous social media influencer. So we're going to do things like, let's try Starbucks. Let's try crumble cookies. Watch me try to do my makeup because I don't know how to do my makeup. Is that the kind of crap that she's going to put out and then say, oh, well, it's awareness. I'm spreading awareness as to like how I'm being an adult because I had to go to prison and I unalived my mother. Like what?
Whoa.
What is the end game here? What is the shtick? What is going to happen? I hope that, I want to say this. I hope that all of her fans that have been so harsh against commentary channels and people giving Gypsy criticism, those fans that are like, oh, how dare you not allow her to come out and live her life, and if people want to watch, then that's their business. I hope that all of y'all can have a huge seat immediately, because what is going to happen is exactly what a lot of us have said. And that is, she is going to exploit this pregnancy, and then she's going to immediately go into exploiting this child. I said,
oh, hell, you guys think?
That if the child is lucky, the child's face might be blurred for a little while. I guarantee when this child is born, Gypsy Rose is going to work with People Magazine, TMZ, Us Weekly, whatever trashy tabloids are out there, and whoever is the highest bidder is going to release the photos of the baby. And her and Ken are going to do a photo shoot. It's going to be all professional, and she's going to get paid money for it. And that is the way that the world is going to see the first images of this child. And once those images are published through whatever magazine, whatever article she can get paid the most for, that's going to come out. And then she's going to immediately say, oh, well, People Magazine or whoever, we did that photo shoot. Everyone knows what the baby looks like now. So now we can put the baby in content. And I know the people are really interested in this child. And
oh, wow.
You know, kids pay because it's a sick world. So that's going to be the way that she enters into being a mommy vlogger. I guarantee it. The other thing I want to say is this Starbucks video was very lackluster and boring. Like, this is not the kind of content that I would gravitate towards. Even if I liked the person, this would just be a run-of-the-mill trying a coffee drink video for me. It's not interesting. But what I would like to hear from y'all is that if you have had children, how do you feel about sugar and caffeine and all of this, especially considering that we know that Gypsy Rose has this chromosome disorder? It's been said that her pregnancy could be high risk. How do y'all feel about that, knowing the background on Gypsy? Does that influence the way that you look at this? How do you feel? I just want this comment section to be a place to have a conversation. Of course, all opinions are welcome. If you think this is like totally no big deal, this is amazing, good for her, sound off down below. If you can't stand it and it makes your, you know, if it gives you goosebumps down your spine when she is constantly licking her lips and doing the Muppet laugh, then sound off down below.
The Muppet laugh.
I get it. But yeah, I guess that's the lie that she's gonna tell now. Oh, this is, I'm spreading awareness as to what it's like to re-enter society.
You what?
Guarantee it. And she'll use that until the photos are released of her child, and then she'll be able to go into mommy influencing. And I think it's all sick and twisted as per usual. But
oh, damn.
I'll let y'all go. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Oh, hell. That is crazy. I don't know. I have no idea. Unreal. Unreal. This world. Lord. Baby Jesus. Lord, send the asteroid. I think that's all I got for tonight, y'all. I'm exhausted. I'm out of here. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Go back and rewatch some videos. I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We might hang out on TikTok for a little bit longer. So come over to The Haunted Side on TikTok, The Mystery Project on YouTube. Let's do this.